Alrighty, in this video we're going to talk about two very important operators, reduce and scan. So, what if you had this observable that's producing all these things, all these individual items, but you want to perform an operation on these and kind of collect them into a single value. Let's say we want to sum every single item that's been produced by an observable. We do that with reduce and scan. Reduce and scan are very similar, and they follow the exact same syntax as what you might be used to with any other reduce you might have seen, such as JavaScript's built-in reduce function. But for people who are not familiar with reduce, let's go ahead and write it. It's very easy to write. So function array reduce. So again, we're working against arrays now, and then we'll show how to use these operators against observables. So array reduce takes in an array, and it also takes in a function. So we'll pass in accumulator, and it'll also take in a starting value, so start value. So array reduce basically will say let value equals start value. Then I'll say for let item of array value equals accumulator value item, and return value. So that looks deceptively simple here. What's going on? Well, we're looping over the array, and for every item, we are invoking the accumulator function, passing in what we've already accumulated as well as the current item. We can use this to perform a lot of different operations. Let's do an array here of all these numbers. Let's say we want to add all these numbers together. How do we do that? Well, we'll console log out, array reduce, pass in the values, and then pass in our accumulator, which is a function that takes in an accumulator and a value. So we'll do ACC and I, and I'll simply do ACC plus I. And then finally, we do a number here. I'm going to break this out into a const sum so the parentheses don't look so confusing. So we went ahead and we summed up every single value by using this simple function. Again, the most complicated part is right here. That's a function that takes in an accumulator and a value. And, oh, whoops, we don't want to start with 1. We would do that if we were multiplying, not adding. So what we do is return the accumulator plus the current value. We can use reduce to find the maximum value. So let's say const max equals array reduce values. And for this, I'm going to break it out a little bit to make it easy to read. So I'm going to do that, and I'll do function ACC value, and then I'll start off with -1. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say if ACC, again, we want to find the maximum value. So if the value we had, if the value we received was larger than the value we had, return the new value. Otherwise, return the old value. And so now, if I go in here and say console log max, we see that the maximum number, 432, which is indeed the maximum number, was returned. Of course, we could write this much more succinctly. We can say const max equals array reduce and pass in values. And go ahead and cheat and pass in math.max, and then pass in -1 for our default value. This does the exact same thing. Math.max is literally this function right here. So we can take that, and we can nuke it, and run that again, and we get the same value. So, again, very simple, very concise and expressive way to take a list of items and turn them into a single value. Now, our array reduce function is not complete. Sometimes we don't pass in a start value. In that case, the value becomes the first value of the array, and then for the second value of the array is when we start providing the accumulator. But I'm ignoring that for now. All right, so how do we reduce a observable? Well, it's really straightforward. Rx observable, let's do range from 1 to 10 dot reduce ACC value, ACC plus value, subscribe, create subscriber, and we'll call this reduce. 55. So 55 is the sum of 1 through 10. So that's how we can reduce an entire observable. But, so that's reduce. And we could also pass in a starting value if we wanted to. Again, by not passing in the starting value, this won't execute until the second item comes in. And then reduce will pause. Not pause, but it'll spin its wheels until the observable completes. For example, if I did range and then I merged in, so merge Rx observable never, what do you think the output's going to be? Hit Control S, and nothing happens, because the reduce never gets never finishes. So what about this is slightly problematic actually, because oftentimes with our streams they are hot and they'll continuously pass in values. And what if we wanted to process every single individual value as it came in and emit that result? Well, that's where scan comes in. Scan is literally like reduce, except if I run this, notice how even though it never completed, you never see reduce.complete, it still produced a value every single time a value came in. So if I took off this never, notice how we do get a complete, but if I keep the never, we never get a complete. And that's what scan does. So scan is awesome at bringing in values or processing values as they come in. So that's really cool. Here's another example. What if we wanted to receive the first and the last value? There is a pairwise operator. I don't believe it's included by default. That does the same thing, or close to the same thing. But what if we wanted to get the last value and the current value? So in this case, I'll go ahead and keep this example around, and I'll comment it, and then I'll paste it down here. So what if we wanted the last value and the current value? Well, first of all, I want to make these values very different from each other, so I'll map them. I'll square them. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say scan. Now this is going to look really weird, but I'll break it down for you guys. Scan last underscore goes into array, or sorry, scan last underscore current goes into array of current last. And then of course we have to start off with an empty array. So check that out. Now we get an array with the first value and then the last value. So 1 and then undefined, 4 and then 1, 9 and then 4, 16 and then 9, and so on and so on and so on. So what's going on here? Well, this function right here is equivalent to if I had written it like this. Function scan last, and it would take in a ACC and a value, and then we would simply say const last equals ACC at 0, and then we would return value in last. However, I'm using deconstruction syntax right here to deconstruct the first parameter passed in as an array, grab the first item out of it. In fact, I don't even need that that underscore right there. I just need to deconstruct the first item out of this array. And then the second parameter into this function is the current item. What do I return? The current item as the first item of an array, and then the last item as the second item of an array. And of course, I have to start off with an empty array, because if I try to deconstruct undefined, I'm going to get an exception. And that's scan. So scan can be used for a lot of different things. If you continuously need to aggregate values and process them, that is what scan is for. Scan is kind of the reactive version of reduce, but we still have reduce available to us. If we know we have a cold observable that's going to finish at some point, reduce might be the thing that you want, because you're not going to be wasting time printing out these intermediate results. But if what you really want is to have these intermediate results, or if your observable never completes, then you'll want to use scan. And that's scan and reduce. Again, very important operators. And with that, I think we'll see you guys next video.